Hello, everybody. How you doing? This is Donna D, aka the Urban Mommy, and I am here with another podcast. Today we have another excellent topic, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the good stuff, just like we had last time. You guys are going to want to stick with us all the way to the end because we are going to be dropping some jewels. Today I am joined by Miss Tiffany. Good morning,
Hello, hello,
Tiffany. Welcome.
hello.
Thank you so much for joining us today. So to get started, I want to ask you, like I start off with everybody else. I asked them to tell us a little about themselves, just a little quick story. Who are you, where you from? You know.
All right, all right. I am Tiffany. I am a mother, wife, podcaster, singer, songwriter, hopefully future author. Well, I ain't gonna say hopefully future author, because I'm gonna finish these books. Um, Yeah, all of these things and above. Probably some more, but I can't think of any more at the top of my head. But I am currently focused on my podcasting and getting inspiration out there in the world. So that is me.
And where you from?
I am from Arkansas.
Home of Bill Clinton, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
So is that where you grew up in Arkansas?
Yes, basically. I was born in California, but I've been here, might as well say, all my life. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
yes.
All right. So, what inspired you to create a podcast?
What has inspired me to create a podcast? So, originally, I always tell people I do not like my voice. So starting a podcast off top, um, was more of a you can do it thing. I graduated in 2021 from uh, getting my music business bachelor's degree, and within doing that degree I ended up like surfacing podcasting, and from then on I kind of wanted to start it. I really didn't know what I really wanted to do as far as topics or anything like that, but I knew that I wanted to do it, and I knew that I didn't want to be like everybody else. So what inspired me was the things that I've already been doing, which is writing, but looking at it from a different perspective and actually using the voice that I have, even though I didn't like my voice. So, but just stepping out, leaping out, and doing the podcast, that was an inspiration enough to actually keep going. Was inspiration.
So, what is the podcast about?
It's Tips Tuesdays. And what I do is I release an episode every Tuesday, and it's just short, sweet, simple to the point. I think it maybe averages at times maybe up to 8 minutes, where I give you motivation, encouragement, and inspiration. Whatever I'm going through in life, or whatever I might think that is important for somebody to know in life, is what I base my topics off of. Just something to keep you going throughout your week. Starting off, I only did just my one episode a week, but then with social media and things like that, you got to stay relevant and everything. So I try to like keep those inspirational things on my page, not just on Tuesdays. So yeah, it's just inspiration to get you through your week, get you through whatever it is that you're going through in life. You can always just push play. That's the good thing about podcasts these days. You can just go and push play. You don't have to worry about missing the show. But then I've also expanded with the show by doing a live portion of the show, which is Tips Tuesdays live rehashed, where I have special guests that come on to the show and to reiterate the topics that I talk about, to give different perspective on the topics that I talk about, because how I see one thing, you may see it another way. You might see it in a deeper light than I even imagined. So I've expanded since then with doing the live show also.
Okay, so in that telling your story, sometimes you have to be vulnerable to, encourage others sometimes. How do you find the courage to be so vulnerable?
Being vulnerable, I would say, first of all, it's taken me years to kind of be vulnerable. Sometimes you go through things in life that allow you or to show you that you can be vulnerable. I'm the type of person that, I keep pretty much to myself. And I don't really like to get too close to people and allow them in my space, for the simple fact that I'm the type of person that when I do allow you in my space, it's like I love hard. And it's like some people don't understand it. And then some people take advantage of you loving hard. And in the end, they don't know how to act or react to that. And I've been in situations where, say, I've been friends with somebody, and I don't know if you've ever been through this, but be friends with somebody and then all of a sudden you're not friends and you really don't know why you're friends anymore. And and it seemed like you did something wrong, but you're trying to figure it out. So situation like that made me not want to be vulnerable with people. But I am learning every day um, to know my circle, and within knowing my circle knows me. So I'm able to be vulnerable with those people.
Okay, so with being vulnerable and with having a podcast where you share so much, you open yourself up. You could potentially open yourself up for a lot of criticism. Have you experienced that? And if so, how do you deal with criticism?
So I don't think that I have so far. I with the topics that I have, they're just really just motivators. If I ever do get to the point of, touching on some things that are a little touchy, that would be interested. I would be interested to see. But I believe that if that were to happen, that affect me a whole lot, because everybody got their own opinion. That's how I feel. That's with anything in life, and with personal issues, social media issues, any of that. Everybody has their own opinion. We all have mouths and we all have thoughts. So it's if I ever run into that would be just more interest for something to talk about. That's how I look at it.
Okay. All right. I also noticed on your page, I saw you talking about appreciating the storms. What does that mean
Appreciate
to
the
you?
storms. Yes, okay, so appreciate the storms. That is actually from one of my episodes that I just released. I think that was last week's episode. Appreciate the storm. Just the things that you go through in life. Any type of storm that you go through in life. You can take it physical or you can take it metaphorically. Um, and as a matter of fact, I think um, physically is what inspired this episode, because we've been having a lot of storms here lately. But people look at it as a bad thing. They look at the damage that it causes. I don't feel like it raining. I don't want to be out in the rain. Things like that. Physically, that is the effects and the thought pattern that people have when it comes to storms. They don't look at that during this storm it could be washing away things that you don't even know needed to be removed out. During the storm, appreciate the rain. I had a guy that came on my podcast and he said something so significant. that I was just like, I never thought about it like that. But he was saying that a lot of people ask for things from God, and they want to complain when things are happening. And he was like, don't be mad at God or don't be mad at the situation. Stop asking for so much then. You know what I mean? So, but rain represents is it what is raining is allowing for the things that you want to grow. You have to have water to grow. You can't just plant a seed and expect for anything to just pop up. I mean, I'm sure there's probably seeds out there that can do that. But overall, you need some water. You need the things that are going to fertilize that seed and make it grow. So the things that we go through in life, don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as, what can I get from this situation? What good thing? Yes, but when I get out of this storm, because you will get out the storm. When I get out of this storm, what can I take from it? What can I say to someone else to help them get through their storm? Because I've already been through it. You know what I mean? So appreciate the storms, appreciate it. Everything bad that happens isn't necessarily bad. Some of the things that are happening for a reason. Some of those things are washing away some of the things that you might not even pay attention to, that you might not even need it, and you're thinking that you need it. We sit up here and we have these things that are big to us, but trust and believe, when you lose it, you'll see how small or big it is. And that's just with personal things in life. You lose cars, you lose material things, but then you realize that I can make it without these material things. Why am I so stressed about it? Sometimes the things that you lose will release so much stress. It will really, you'll notice it right away. So appreciate the storms. Whatever it is that you're going through, appreciate the storm. Get whatever you need to get out of the storm. Don't
Okay.
pray them away.
No. Yeah. So, what life storm taught you the most?
Right now, the life storm that's teaching me the most right now is just, like I said, the material things. Um, uh, let's see. Well, if we're being vulnerable right now, we're being vulnerable. Off top, knowing that I wasn't gonna have a car, I'm like, man, how I'm gonna get where I need to go? How am I gonna do the things that I need to do? But also not realizing that I ain't gotta pay a car payment. I ain't gotta pay car insurance. I have family here that helps me. So I'm good for right now until I get to that point where I can get another car and do what I need to do. Then, that'll come. So that's just like literally here, my personal situation, being vulnerable, is teaching me that, just not to lean and depend on those material things all the time. Sometimes it's a relief. It honestly is. I didn't think I'd feel this relief without a car.
So,
and to
so
real
how do you
and to
remain so
realize somebody
positive?
else so positive. This is how I remain positive. There are people out there that have less. You know what I mean? I still got a roof over my head. I still got a job to go to. I still got food. I still got clothes. I still have everything that I need. I'm not going without. My other bills are being paid. And it's not a necessity. It's funny that I say that now because me and my husband had a conversation with another couple, and they were saying that people what was it? People like they get assistance, and you write down the different things that you have. Um, the system looks at you having a car as a a privilege.
Luxury, yeah.
Yeah. And we was like, that ain't a privilege. You need a car. You need a car to get around. Like, that's not a privilege. Like, I still got to work to be able to go around in this car. I still got to pay for gas. I still got to do this. I got to do that. I got to get where I need to go. So, but now I look at it in a different perspective. It's like, well, I mean, as long as you get where you need to go, you don't necessarily have to have a car. There are some people that walk every day. There are some people that can't walk. They got to get where they need to go, So that's how I stay positive within the situation, is to know that it could be worse, you know.
True. So now shifting a little bit to protecting your peace.
Mhm.
How do you protect your peace? What do you find the best ways to protect? And what
Okay, so
explain what protecting your peace means to you? Because some people it may mean something different.
true. So protecting my peace, the biggest thing that I do to protect my peace is, number one, to set boundaries. Um, I always say, not everybody is for you. Um, Set your boundaries. Uh, Whether it's at work, whether it's in your home, relationships, anything that involves you, you be at your mind setting those boundaries. And what I mean by that is, say for example, I know one big thing that I'm trying to work on is just getting back to my spiritual connection. And in order to get to my spiritual connection, I have to be in a place that I can get back connected. And sometimes you can't be around certain people, or you can't. You're gonna always be around people. Now, environments that you can't control, you can control what goes in your ears, what comes out of your mouth. You know what I mean? So another a way for me to protect my peace is, like, say for example, I'm at work, and certain people bring vibes and energy that just either they pump you up or they bring you down, or it's just a certain way that a person talks to you. It's like, okay, you can talk like that around everybody else, but don't talk like that around me. Or, you just go on off to your own corner, zone off if you can. I try to zone off. But sometimes you just have to protect your peace just by knowing what you want out of life. The things that you accept, um, they contribute to you protecting your peace. Um, like I said, not everybody is for you. Uh, so everybody is not going to act like you. Everybody's not going to be like you. But you have to learn how to. What am I trying to say right here? Uh, you have to learn how to just set those boundaries. Set those boundaries to protect your peace. And then another thing to protect your peace is to find the things that you love to do in life. We get so busy and bogged down doing the things that we have to do that we lose ourselves, um, or we're pleasing other people, you know. And it's like within that you lose yourself. It's like what is it that makes you happy? What is it that makes you happy? Take some time for yourself. I always say recharge. We go. I always use the analogy of the cell phone. We continue. We put these phones on the charger, um, but we never just power it down and let it charge. And this is what we're doing in our lives. We're not just recharging. We need to recharge in order to get to ourselves. I always say that you have to take care of you so that you can be around for everybody else. If you don't take care of yourself, how you gonna be here for somebody else?
That's true, especially as a mother. A lot of times we lose
Yeah.
ourselves and our children. And being a
Hmm.
being a good mother, we neglect ourselves.
Mhm.
I tell
Mhm.
my kids I'm the captain of the ship. If something happened to me, we all
Yeah.
go down. So y'all have to respect my boundaries, respect my time. Mommy got a headache, leave me alone for a little minute, and and let me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That is so true. Yes.
And even with the phones, you were saying, I remember one time I was having a problem with my phone. This was years ago, and I brought it to it like frozen or something, and I just couldn't get it. I have an iPhone, so you can't take the battery off. This was back, a couple years back, and I remember bringing my phone to the Apple store, and he said, we always just have our phone going and we just plug it in. He said sometimes you gotta just turn it off. He said turn it off, give it a
Yep.
break, and turn it back on. So that's a life
Yes.
lesson. Sometimes you just need to turn it off for a minute.
That is. That
Right.
is.
Okay, so we're gonna shuffle a little bit more. We're gonna talk a little bit about relationships.
Okay.
I know you're married now. How long you been married?
14 years.
A long time. Okay. So, what was the biggest? And congratulations, because that's big these days.
Thank you.
What is the biggest lesson you have learned in relationships? Not just your husband. I'm just mean relationships. Period. What was the biggest lesson that you learned?
Well, okay, so you said not just my husband, but the biggest lesson that I've learned in a relationship, which would be with me and my husband, is not to take a person for granted. To appreciate, to show appreciation to whoever you're in a relationship to with. Because although we've been married 14 years, together 16, there's been some times that we wasn't together. So, not to take for granted the person that you're with. You can often, especially with a long relationship as this, you can take people for granted by first of all getting too comfortable. You feel like you've figured everything out about that person and things like that, but it's like you're constantly learning something about each other throughout a relationship. Um, that would be the main thing that I would say that is a big lesson, is not to take the person that you're with for granted. You know.
Okay. So, what do you feel about? There's like a huge fuss for the last couple of months on Facebook about women that say, "I don't need a man." And a lot of
Ah,
it, my opinion, a lot of women say it as a defense mechanism sometimes, and lately it has turned to. And I don't even think that. I mean, they said we don't need a man, but I think it's kind of different. Not saying that they don't want one. I think they're just saying that they don't need one because for so long women have unfortunately been forced to do things on their own. So a lot of these women that are saying that came from situations where it was just a woman. So it's like, I don't need a man. Now, if you speak to
right,
someone 40, over 40, 50-ish, they may feel like they need a man because, they probably grew up in a home with mom and dad. Dad went to work, mom did home or whatever she did. But people that's maybe 40 and under, a lot of us were raised in single parent homes, just a dad or just a mom. So it's different. So what do you feel about that situation when women say, I don't need a man? And what do you feel about that?
that's a good question. I mean, as you stated, a lot of people that are saying that um, they've been put in those situations that they don't need a man. Um, I feel them to a certain extent. I think it's more that I don't have to depend on a man in order to do the things that I need or want to do. Now, I wouldn't be one of those ones saying that, because I mean I love my man, so we balance each other out. Whereas I may need help in one area, he might be the person that helps me in that area, and vice versa. Um, but I believe that people can be in their own, they can stand their own ground if needed. But I wouldn't go as far as to be like, I don't need a man. Maybe you don't want a man in that in that time of your life or whatever, which is fine. That's your prerogative. But all of us ain't about to be out here talking about we don't need no man, because you need a man for certain things. And I'm just gonna put it out there like that. So but I believe whoever that woman gets with, that man should help to balance them out, not to they should enhance the other person. And I feel like two whole human beings should be in a relationship. But if you like uh need to work on yourself, and you know you need to work on yourself, then you don't need to be with nobody. You know what I mean? That might be another subject. I don't know, but I really believe that, um, if two healthy by mentally, physically, all of that good stuff, human beings are together, then it's better. It works. But a lot of times we have people that are not mentally healthy for a relationship. So then that's when you run into these toxic relationships, and um I don't need a man, because somebody done been hurt. So now that they've been hurt, any man that comes along, I don't need a man. So yeah, I don't know on that one, but I
So
know that I'm not one to say that.
right, you're not gonna. Let me ask you: did you grow up with a mom and dad in the same house?
I grew up, my parents actually divorced when I was younger. Like I was like maybe like 10 or 11. But I've always grown up with my mom and my dad. You know
Right.
what I
So I think
mean?
that makes a difference as well. It makes a
Yes.
difference when you have that
Yes.
foundation of a mom and a dad. You will look at life differently. Whereas someone who was raised on survival, I almost would say, like myself, and this happened not on purpose but subconsciously. It happened. I was kind of raised on survival, so it was me and my mama. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the way I look at things. And it's not to
Mm-hmm.
say anyone is right or wrong, because you're gonna look at life through
Right.
your experience. So,
Exactly.
and I'm not one that say that either, because even though I grew up like I did, I know that's not the way that it's supposed to be. And I don't say it's not it's supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what I mean. It
Yeah.
doesn't have well, it doesn't have to be like that. You can get
Yeah.
help, but I do know that I can do it by myself. I mean, I had been doing it by myself for a long time, so I do know that. So, do you think that the independent woman movement hurt us in any way?
Sometimes I think that it does. For the simple fact, like I said, you can't get past those walls that you've put up in the process of having to be independent. Some people, they wonder why they're not in relationships or in a healthy relationship or even start a relationship, but it's because of the walls that they've built along the way. Sadly, because they just have to be so independent.
All right, so now we'll get to this my recent topics. I have this the last couple of
Uh,
podcasts we discussed this. So, do you think? And I won't say all men. We're gonna talk about women too. So, do you think that all men? Do you think that all men cheat?
oh, I'm glad you asked.
Well, not
No.
all. We're gonna say a huge majority, because we know it's never all.
Well, yes, I was about to say because it's never all, because not in all situations is it the man that cheats.
That too. That too.
Um, but so the question is, do I think that a majority of men cheat?
Yes, that's a question.
Maybe, maybe. But like I said, we ask the question about the men all the time, but we don't answer about the women all the time.
Well, that was
But
next. Don't worry,
yeah.
because the last couple of podcasts that we had, we discussed that. And actually, the last two ladies that I asked, they said I've been cheated on and I've been the cheater. So
Mhm. I would
that
probably be
opened
those.
up a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
That opened up a lot. So women do it as well. So have you ever been
yes,
cheated on?
yes,
Have you ever been the cheater?
yes.
I appreciate
Yes.
your honesty.
Yeah, yeah. We being vulnerable today for real.
Yeah, we being vulnerable. You know, you got to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and another question, I'm just trying to see because I'm trying to compare answers for because you
Mm,
know the podcast is very diverse. So I'm trying to
okay.
compare answers amongst different groups to see if you know certain things, certain theories hold true. So, but it's
Okay.
interesting, really, that I've learned that women, period. A lot of time we say black women, white women, whatever, but no, it's a lot of it is just a woman thing when it comes down to men,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that's what I'm learning. You know, being able to speak with so many different people from so many different backgrounds, you know, even different states, because you know we all different. You know, I mean we're the same, but we're different, and
Right.
it's all from different experiences. So, do you think that men and women cheat for the same reason?
Uh, well, in my let me be careful how I word this. In my experience, being on either side, I think that people do it for different reasons. I think it just depends on your mentality, your maturity, uh, and things like that. Just your perspective of how things look within a relationship. So, yeah.
So the reason why I asked that because I believe that men, for the most part, you know, it's never all like I said. I think that a majority of men cheat because they have the opportunity presents itself, and I don't think it's always that deep with them. They just kind of do it. It just kind of happens. That what it seems like that's always the excuse they say. It's never
Yeah.
anything. It just kind of happened. But when it
Hmm.
comes to women, most women, I'm not talking about. I don't want to say young chicks because that's not the answer. I want to say some of these new. I'm gonna say these new women because some of these new women they took the role of a man. They just do whatever. I'm not talking about them, but some women, most women, I think they cheat because a lack of communication and something is being neglected. They may not feel a certain way from their husband and not just sexually. Maybe he's not giving them attention, so maybe they go get the attention from somebody else. Something like that. So that's kind of how I feel about men versus women cheating. What you think?
Hmm. So, okay, so on the man side, like you said, they just do things just to do things. I believe that, and then a lot of times they feel like they can't get caught, so they just do it, you know, or some do it, because they can have something good right at home and just be doing whatever they want to do. I don't understand it. But then also on the woman's side, like you said, with the um, sometimes you are missing something, whether that be sexually or attention wise, and you feel like that you're communicating to that person that that's what you're missing, and in all reality, they feel like you haven't communicated that to them at all. And then it also goes back to what I said before, maturity. I know, early on, um, would have been whenever our little hiccup was, but but you're just young and you just do what you do, because you feel like, well, I'm not getting this attention that I thought that I was gonna have, and you just do things whether it's right. No, it's not right. Because I feel like if you got to do that, then you might as well just let your partner know, hey, I ain't feeling this. We need to separate something. You know what I mean? And not just go out there and do those things. That's what I would say now. If I was, let's see, I'd be 36 this year. 10 years ago, if I would have told myself that, that would save me heartache. You know, but I appreciate that storm though. It made me grow. It made
Right.
me grow.
So how hard is it you think, to fully love and trust after having your trust violated?
Very hard. So if you're the person that got cheated on, you don't trust after that. Um, in my situation, I had got cheated on, but then I also was a cheater at some point. This is in two different relationships though. But once I had been cheated on after being the cheater in a different relationship, it was like, dang, like I know what you're going through. Uh I in a sense, let's see, how can I say? Being cheated on, it does. It messes with your mindset. Anybody after that, it's like you ain't gonna do right. You know what I mean? Or if you stay with that person, it's like I don't really fully believe you. But at the same time, like I said, being the one that has done it, but being forgiven from the person that I did it to, it took some work. It took some years of building that trust back, and I don't know if honestly that person fully trusts, but it's one of those things. Is like you got to take it for what it is. Either it's gonna be there or it's not. And some people don't forgive, and that's one thing that you have to also accept is they might not forgive you if you're the person that did that to someone. You know.
Yeah, forgiveness is big. So that's something that most of us fight with because it's big, it's difficult. And actually, yesterday on the podcast that I had, which was a really good podcast, we spoke about forgiveness, and she asked me, "What did forgiveness mean to me?" She's like, "What does forgiveness mean?" So I was like somebody said it, it's but it's when you think about it, it's kind of hard to describe what forgiveness is sometimes. Like, so what
Yeah.
my answer was, well, the easiest way I could describe forgiveness is to basically pretend like it never happened. I mean, because that's what it seems like to me. If we talk in forgiveness, because when you forgive somebody, you shouldn't continue to bring it up and stuff like that. Because if you bring it up, that means you didn't really forgive them. I mean, I don't know. I'm
Mm,
asking these are just me asking questions, and I want to do another follow up about that because forgiveness is a big thing, and I want to talk about it.
yeah.
Do you know how to fully forgive?
Do I know how to fully forgive? I will tell you right now, and I'm not going to go into the actual subject of what had to be forgiven. But a lot of times, forgiveness is you forgiving somebody for something that they might not even know that they did to you. You know, yeah. Sometimes you have to forgive because if a subject keeps coming back up or a person keeps coming back up and you keep feeling some type of way about them, you know you need to forgive that person. And then if you can't forgive that person, it's like you just feel bad. Um this particular person that I had to forgive, like I said, she didn't know that she had did whatever she did. But then when I reached out to her to let her know, hey, I feel some type of way about this situation, and these are my feelings towards it. Within letting her know, she also let me know that other feelings that she had. And so it made me look at the situation differently in a sense. I still felt the way that I felt. And to this day, I feel how I felt, but it's just not as harsh and as personal towards that person. Because at the end of the day, what happened happened.
Right,
And there was nothing that either one of us could have done about it.
right. And you also have to forgive yourself. A lot of times we talk about forgiveness and forgiving other people, but we rarely bring up the issue of actually forgiving yourself because you have to
Hmm.
forgive yourself for sometimes, like the lady said yesterday, you just like with your situation, you may be upset with someone for something that they didn't even know that they were doing because they. I mean, so we're upset, we're hurt, we're whatever, and it's just constantly replaying, like Cardi said, on your mind. You just got it on your mind. You're letting people live in your mind. And for one, they might not even know they did it. And for two, that person might really have a problem and did it, but it had nothing to do with you. It was just all them. But you have to forgive
Mm-hmm.
yourself for allowing yourself to be so broken down by something that you had nothing to do with,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
was the other person.
Right. Yeah, in that situation, then I've also learned that like I said with the cheating, I had to learn to forgive myself. I had to learn that, because for a long time I held on to that, while I was trying to get him to forgive me, but I wasn't forgiving myself because it would the subject would come up, and I'm just like, man, I was just such a horrible person. I shouldn't have did that, but I needed to forgive myself for being that person in that moment. I've learned from it, I've grown from it since then, but I had to also learn to forgive myself
Mm.
because you can change. I don't believe in the once a cheater, always a cheater. Uh, it's not true. If you want to change, then you'll change.
Can you change another person?
You can't change another person. No, that person has to want it for themselves.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So we're winding down to the end. That went fast, huh?
It is.
It went fast. That's a good sign. So my
Yes.
question, which I always ask everybody, if you can go back to 17-year-old Tiffany and give her some advice
Mm.
about life, what would you tell Tiffany?
What would I tell myself? Stop being fast. Stop being fast. Um,
That's funny. That's a
you
first.
said you said 17. Yeah, yeah, I was being fast.
Keep it real, huh?
Like and you know what? It's funny because I grew up in the church. And people always say them church girls, them the ones that you need to watch out for. Sad but true. But if I was to go back to the 17-year-old myself, yes, I would say stop being fast. Focus on other things. Actually push yourself to be something and do something. Actually, you know, just do what you gonna do. At 17, yeah, I was being fast. Stay focused on the things that you want to do. I wanted to do music. I should have been more focused on my music, things like that. I'd probably be somewhere right now. You know what I mean? I still can be somewhere right now, but
Right.
that's definitely what I would tell my 17-year-old self. Focus. Stop being fast. There are other things in this life other than doing things with folks. And yeah, that's just real. That's what I would tell myself.
Oh man, that's so funny. That's funny.
Woo. Yeah.
That was a good
Stop
one.
being fast and focus. You might need to put that on the caption of this one.
Yeah. Message say stop being fast. Oh, that's funny.
Oh man. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Oh, I like that. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Well, so I want to again thank you for coming. Can you please let everybody know how they can follow you, how they can support you? And I know you said your podcast is on Tuesdays, but let us know how we can keep up with you.
All right. So, name of the podcast is Tips Tuesdays. You can follow me on all streaming platforms, wherever you can listen to podcasts. Just put that name in there, and you can follow me. If you are a Spotify listener, I'm trying to get them Spotify followers up right now, so go and follow the podcast on there. I release an episode every Tuesday. As of right now, there are 75 episodes on there. Um, Go and binge the show. I promise you'll love it. Just keep pushing play on there. Like I said, 75 episodes if you want to catch up. Um, but definitely if you are on Spotify, go hit that follow button on Spotify, all that good stuff. Also, I know I'm talking about my podcast, but I also do music. You can follow me on all streaming platforms with my music. Just put in Tiffany, Tiphani, just like it is on the screen. And you can stream some good music, inspiration, hip hop, R&B, all of that good stuff. I got some stuff that I'm working on, gospel wise. So y'all will be hearing some of that soon. And I'm also working on finishing my books. I'm saying this because I will have one of them finished by the end of the year.
You will.
So yes, I'm pushing myself, y'all. So yeah, go and stream on all platforms. Tips Tuesdays, and Tiffany for the music.
Okay. If you can, send me like all your links, not just the
Got
handles,
you.
but the links, and I'll put that in the description on all the
Yes.
podcasts. It'll be on under all the podcasts. This is everywhere, and I also put it on YouTube and put your Instagram too, so that I can tag you, of course, in the videos and stuff. So
Got
make sure
you.
y'all support Tiffany when her book comes out. It's gonna be finished by the
Mhm.
end of the year. So
We
2024,
speaking
y'all be
it. We
looking out for
speaking
her
it.
book. Y'all just support her however y'all can. Make sure y'all listen to the podcast, and I'm gonna go ahead and add you on Spotify as well. So make sure you send me those links. What about
Yes.
TikTok? You do TikTok?
I have a TikTok. It's just my personal one, but I do
Oh,
advertise my podcast and my music on there. So yes.
okay. All right. So yeah, just send me
Yes.
whatever you want, and I'll make sure I put it under here,
Mm-hmm.
and that will be how we do that. So
That's what's
as we
up.
come to the end of the show, I want to thank you all for staying with us this far. I hope we gave y'all a good conversation. I hope that you enjoyed it. Sorry, the police. I would happen to live in the city with all the crime and drama.
Hey, I'm surprised you ain't heard no sirens on my end. I'm right over here by a hospital, so.
Me too. The hospital right there. And they actually going. I live on Canal, so like they going down Canal Street. So something probably happened down there. Who knows? But anyway, y'all, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. Y'all remember to follow, like, subscribe. Oh, my hair's a mess. Follow, like, subscribe, share. Tell people about the podcast. We are here. We're helping people. We are working together. We we doing a thing over here. So if the Lord's the same, I will see you all next week. Bye bye.